Well, hello, welcome back. Today we're going to do a review of the ATEM Mini Pro. The reason I've decided to finally do a more in-depth review on this item is, well, one, it's my most viewed video to date, and two, Blackmagic Design has done 2 software and firmware updates this week, and thanks to Steph Lee Films, I'll put a link to his channel down below, because without him, I wouldn't have known about the updates. So thanks, buddy. So what they've gone and they've updated is they've added the ability to save your startup state in the ATEM Mini Pro and ISO. It doesn't work quite the same with the ATEM Mini. I think that's because there are some circuitry differences internally with the device, but it does work with the Pro and the ISO, and it enables you to save your, like I got the little the little bird. I can't point at it. Little bird here. That was a lot easier. Use the other hand, and the various things that you save into the software, you can now save into the firmware and maintain those as well as your macros. One notable thing about doing the updates is you need to uninstall the current version you have installed and then install the new version of the software. And then when you go in to connect to your device, it will give you the option to update the firmware to that version. I'm not really sure why Blackmagic Design does not push updates to us. You have to go and pull it from their website and go through this process. There's no button within the software or on the device to look for an update. We don't get an email saying that there is an update. You kind of have to magically know that there's an update. I'd love to see them change this. Blackmagic, I hope you're watching. It's kind of a pain in the neck to do your updates, and you need to keep your customers informed. 99% of the other applications, programs, and things out there either do the updates automatically, or you get a pop-up when you start the program that tells you, hey, there's an update, let's do it. I don't know, maybe pay your programmers a little bit more. Certainly, I think you can afford it with the price tag we pay for your logo. So we're going to take a look at, I have the Mini Pro. There is also the ISO. The ISO does some things that I don't think would really help my workflow very much. The ISO is very expensive and doesn't help me in my workflow. I use the ATEM Mini Pro mostly because it streamlines my workflow. I'm able to push a few buttons and get it to send the information to my computer, and I record through OBS. I've kind of talked about why I do it that way in my previous video, so I'm not going to get into too much depth with it. Let's take a look at the ATEM Mini Pro. So here we have the Pro, and we can go through and I can switch cameras. There's my top down, there's my side view, hello, and here's the computer, which will do this because I'm on a window that's showing the camera. It goes into kind of an endless loop. On the device, if I can get this camera to focus, up here we've got 4 buttons to do with mic input 1, on air, off air, and volume up and down, and then duplicate set of buttons for microphone input number 2, and those are the 2 inputs right here, red and blue, which are tied over here to my Behringer 1202, which we got the red and blue once again. Down below that we have 4 sets of buttons that are all identical. Focus. And AFV is audio follows video. Reset takes it back to the startup point. On and off are for the audio of this input, and volume control for the input. And that duplicates through channel 2, channel 3, channel 4. Alright, and then here we have still, which I can bring up. I'm not sure what still that is. And I can fade to black, maybe. I don't know. Anyway, there's those. Here we have your transition speed, how long it takes. I usually just set to cut. You can also do auto, which is kind of more of a crossfade. Cut is a pretty quick transition, as you can see there. That's usually where I have it set. With auto, you can also do a dip style, which fades to white, and then to the new chosen camera. You can also choose wipe feature. You can do this one up here is a downward wipe. And this one here is a push, which is kind of a folding push that you can do. And then this one here is a slide off push that you can do. I really like the mix for doing the YouTube things. It seems to work pretty well. I can go a little faster. FTB is fade to black, which takes everything out, and then you hit it again to come back to whatever you're on. This section here is your video output, which I have coming to this little monitor here, which shows preview and program on the top, and then my 4 inputs below that, and then media player in the bottom left, some recording time information, some data amounts, and then my audio meters going across the bottom there. So these 6 buttons here all have to do with that. I can go to program, and whatever camera I have selected goes to my monitor here, or I can pick a specific one of those sources to always be displayed there if that's what I prefer to see, or I want to check if a camera's ready. I can show it on the preview. I really like either having it on program, which shows me what I'm sending out of the box into the computer and into OBS, or the multi-view I find very handy because I can kind of see everything that's going on with the whole setup. If a camera is turned on and working properly, hasn't run out of battery, etc. So that's that section of buttons. Up here we have picture-in-picture controls. I don't use this a lot on the device because the picture-in-picture, if I press the on button here, is at a predetermined size. I can move it around to the various corners, but it's going to always be at that size if I use the device to turn it on. Next we have keying, which I believe is the downstream key, where I would do like chroma key or something if I had a green screen behind me. And then if I alternately have this ATEM Mini Pro plugged into a hard drive, I can record directly to the hard drive with record and stop right here. However, I have this going into the computer as a camera input instead. Unfortunately, you can't do both. On-air, off-air is for streaming. If I go into the software, which I'll get to in a minute, I can tell it my streaming information, whether that's for YouTube or Twitch or whatever streaming service I may have. I can put that information in, and I can just start it up with the on-air button here in the top, and I can stop it with the off button. I don't use a lot of those features on the device with my current setup, just because I haven't done things where it was needed yet. I probably will in the future.